CARICOM Energy Month started in 2015. It was really an upgrade to CARICOM Energy Week, which had started in 2011. So in 2011, ministers of energy asked that CARICOM countries should find some time where they would collectively observe matters related to energy so as to build greater awareness among the CARICOM population. And so in 2011, CARICOM Energy Week started, and it was held typically simultaneously on the second week of November in every year. So that went on until 2015. There was a recognition that there was so much to really observe and so much to speak about and so much to do that 1 week was proven to be a challenge to get all the messages in too. And so the decision was made by the member states to expand this observation of energy matters into a month rather than a week. And so CARICOM Energy Month started since 2016. So this is the 5th stage of CARICOM Energy Month. And the goal of CARICOM Energy Month is twofold. The first is that we are seeking to build awareness around what's going on in the region, helping citizens to understand what are the issues and what are countries doing to treat with the energy issues, and of course to let them know what are the different, if you want to call it, celebrations that the countries should be looking at in terms of the good examples and the good experiences that countries have had in terms of their pursuit of sustainable energy. So it's really looking at the good things and taking stock of those good things and helping people to understand that there are some good messages and some good experiences that some countries have had. And the second part is really to build greater awareness and better understanding of energy matters, both globally and regionally and nationally with respect to the countries themselves, so that people are more aware of what are the constraints that countries have, what are the intents in terms of how we are seeking to address those constraints with respect to energy, and to understand what are some of the things that they themselves as citizens can do in respect to responsible energy use. So it's a dual purpose, the Energy Month. A part of it is really to let people know what's happening and what has been happening, and a part of it is to allow people to understand more about the sector itself. We are to really make significant progress on our sustainable development goals and agenda as a small island developing states, which we all are in CARICOM. Even countries like Guyana, which are low-lying continental shelves, are considered small island developing states. If we are truly to make progress, energy has to be a critical part of how we configure our economies, or we configure our social sectors, or we configure our environmental systems. Because at the end of the day, it's energy that drives everything that we do. And if it is that we do not have an energy system that is capable of meeting our sustainable development needs, we will always not be in a position to live the kind of lives and livelihoods, experience the kind of livelihoods that we desire. So the idea that renewable energy can help us to achieve better sustainable development pathway is one that is important, and is one that we are promoting, that we reimagine or reimagine the resilience pieces of our lives with energy at the center of it, because resilience is important to us, because as small island developing states, we are viewed among the most vulnerable to climate change matters, and climate change has been admittedly identified as the single biggest threat to human existence in the world today. We are going to be having a number of what we could call knowledge building exercises. We are going to be having a dialogue series, as we refer to it. We would have normally, if it weren't for COVID in this year, November this year, we would have had what we call a Caribbean Sustainable Energy Forum, which is really a gathering of policymakers in the region where we discuss the progress that we have made to date so far in respect to sustainable energy development as a collective, and to figure out, what are the things that are a priority for us to work on in the next, 5 years, 10 years, in order to continue moving the agenda even more effectively. But this year we are not doing it, even though, some persons were suggesting we should do it virtually. We said, no, we want to wait until the protocols allow us to do it physically, because a significant part of that gathering was always the ability of member states and senior officials in member states to network and to exchange ideas person to person. And we believe that the virtual means, while it is beneficial and helpful, will not be as suitable to some of the other objectives of that forum. So what we are doing is really hosting a dialogue series in the absence of that forum, which is over 4 days. And that dialogue series is one that is really intended to not replace the forum, but to enhance the work that we have done under the forum, and it's going to be looking at a number of topical areas, including electrification within the transport sector, looking at some of the things, including resilience-based planning, and many of the issues that we are pursuing within the region, looking at things such as ocean and marine renewable energy options and opportunities, and the topical things that as a region we have been seeking to pursue as a collective. We are going to be looking at within that 4 days. We are looking at an energy personality series, which will happen over the 8 weeks. Every week we will feature 2 persons within the region who has been doing a lot of work within the energy sector, people who have made significant marks in terms of energy development, both from the public sector and the private sector. People from academia also will be highlighted. So it's not that we are limiting it to one type of persons. It is not limited to policymakers. It's not limited to government persons. We are just looking for people, regardless of what stages they are at their career, is that they whether they are entering into retirement, whether they have retired, whether they are now at the stage where they are ramping up their careers. We are looking for people throughout the region, or even in the diaspora, who are Caribbean people who have made significant contributions to energy matters, especially if it is linked towards sustainable energy development within the CARICOM space itself. We have already identified and nominated some persons from institutions. The institutions themselves have done some nominations of persons through a search arrangement, and we have also allowed for nominations to come from the general population. So we have a mix of nomination mechanisms that we have used. One is the search requirement that has been set up through institutions, and the other is the nominations from persons within the general public. We are very excited this year because we are going to be having a youth energy seminar. Incidentally, this is something that we have been contemplating for a while. And I guess the pandemic has created what you could call quite a captive audience for things that in the past would not have been as such a high interest, in the sense that persons are more willing to look at virtualization as the means of delivery compared to 2-3 years ago, because we had contemplated a youth seminar by virtual means, and it was always a challenge to find a way to do it and the slot to do it. And of course, a lot of technologies have been advanced and accelerated in terms of the ability to host these things. So we are looking at a youth energy symposium, or a seminar, if you want to call it that, where it is that we will have institutional leaders, energy thought leaders in the region, persons like myself and Dr. Gary Jackson, and some of the persons from the CCRE, and some of the other persons who are heads of institutions related to energy, speaking about what are some of the happenings within their own portfolio, and what are some of the visions on which they are working with respect to the Caribbean energy dream. And not just a dream, but the Caribbean energy pursuit, because we view it as more than just a dream, but a pursuit that is realizable. So we will, speak to the youth to let them know what it is that we are doing, and what it is that we envision that these actions will lead to, and interact with them bilaterally for them to, of course, ask questions and, of course, get deeper understanding of what we are doing. But then we reverse the cycle, and we ask the youths to present to us their own actions, current state and actions, and their own visions of what they would like to see the CARICOM Energy future look like. And we will listen to them and ask them questions, and then we will have a dialogue session thereafter, after those 2 sets of bilateral presentations. We will have dialogue, open, forward-looking, constructive dialogue, where we will come up with a set of what we could call priority areas that we would want to see pursued, and we can reach agreement to among us, the youth, and us who are thought leaders within the energy sector within the region, coming to some consensus around some areas that we should focus on going forward. So we are very excited, because we are looking forward to seeing what emerges from this, so that we can really integrate what the youth brings to the table within the energy program going forward. So it's not just a talk shop, it's really something that we are intending to find ideas from, and to then integrate those ideas into the work and the approach that we are taking going forward. these actions that we are undertaking, and which I just spoke about a while ago, are really happening from the regional perspective. So these are regional actions. But there are also national actions that each country are doing, which are complementing what we are doing on a regional basis. So there will also be country level actions that are going on. I've already been asked to speak on a panel in St. Lucia, of course, by virtual means, where they will be doing work, speaking about the St. Lucia energy policy and matters that are related to St. Lucia itself. And of course, there is, so I've been asked to speak in Barbados too, virtually again, on matters that they are looking at with respect to their own energy sector development. So there are a lot of complementary and congruent national actions that are working alongside these regional actions. So the regional suite of actions are not the only things that will happen during the month, because each country is also celebrating its own National Energy Month and doing its own things that are congruent with and complementary to the CARICOM set of actions. So thanks for that.